I want to go back and just ask the team that's on the call, were there any questions in the Q&A window that perhaps I did not get to or that we did not answer yet? I'd be more than happy to just kind of do a double check on that. We've tried to answer them real time as we've gone along.
There is one question, Tom, asking about license management. How do they manage their site?
So good question. Let me go back to the application. The way we do the licensing for the software, you're basically purchasing a monthly subscription for the licensed number of sites that you need for a given month. So in this particular demo company that we have, we set it up to be a 7-site license. So for example, for the month of, let's say we're getting into February, as you go into the month of February, you've got 7 licensed sites. You decide on your end which of your sites you make active or inactive. We really don't care to how many you've got active or inactive. It's up to you to decide how you want to allocate your sites against the pool of what you've licensed. If you have inactive sites, the other benefit of our system is that inactive site is one that you can no longer accept check-ins into, but we actually still allow you to go back and look at reports and check-in history against sites that are inactive, and we don't actually charge you for doing that. Now, recently we introduced the ability to pay through credit card. We really prefer that people start to use that method, whether you're a new customer or an existing customer. We do have it set up so you can actually pay by credit card. The benefit for that is we just find it's just a lot more streamlined, a lot less manual things that you can avoid at the end of every month. But we do accept the invoice as well. So actually, if I look at the account here, so this account was set up, basically we would charge our customer for a monthly invoice for the 7 active sites, but there is a button in here that says pay by credit card. Now, only the admin of the application could set this up to pay by credit card, but when they click the button, basically they're going to be taken to a page where, they're going to be told, here is for your 7 sites for our monthly fee, what your monthly charge is going to be on the credit card, and then essentially you provide your credit card information. This is handled by a company called Stripe. They're the most popular kind of system out there for managing credit card information, keeping it secure, and authorizing the transaction. But once the information is provided, you basically hit subscribe, and then that gets you on the credit card. The nice thing about the credit card is once you pay by credit card, it's very easy to go in there and change your license number of sites. So for example, in the middle of a billing cycle, if you decide to add a site, you'd basically go in here, manage your account, add another site, and then it prorates the site for the remainder of the month on your monthly billing cycle. Then naturally, when the next month billing cycle comes up, it's going to just charge you. In this case, would charge Foggy Bay for the 7 sites, on that monthly basis.
Great. One comment to add on to that is we're also working on an option for you to transfer the sites to, for example, your tenants or other parties. So that's coming. Stay tuned for an announcement on that. Another question is, can somebody just try this? A free trial.
So the way we've set it up typically is if you go to our website, I'll do that here. Let's see. We go just to our main website, right? You want to try risk-free. Basically you click the button, you provide your information, and you agree to the terms of service. Now, what we typically do is you basically then hit the button to continue your first purchase of the system. We do ask for a credit card to get the first site going. First 30 days is basically refundable. So if for some reason you try it, it's not for you, we go ahead and reverse the charge on the accounts. The initial site's kind of a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's typically the way you would do it. If for some reason this particular flow doesn't work for you, then you can contact our sales team. Go and find that here. Back a second. You contact us, and we'll be more than happy to kind of get you going as well.
Awesome. Other question is, can I take these check-in reports that you showed me and put into a daily report of some kind that my project supervisors can use? So things like if a construction company, those could be like daily logs.
Right. So if we go back to the visitor event report that I had shown during our presentation, that does have in it a record for everybody that's checked into the site, the time that they checked in. And now in there, you can also then put in the activities they performed. I can tell you one of the things we're working on, it's not there yet, but one of the things on the roadmap is the ability to also define a checkout. So a user can very shortly be able to check out of a site. And what that would then capture is when they entered the site, when they left the site, and then calculate how many hours they were on the site. And actually, we'll also put together a bunch of reports that show for all the companies that are in there, how many workers or how many visitors they had on the site for the day, and how many hours they were as well. So this is stuff that's in the works. You'll see some announcements about that in the upcoming weeks. And with all the reports in the system, you do have the ability to export out the contents to a file and share.
Another question is, will I be able to set up so that, let's say I have a capacity of 50, and when I have hit that capacity, can I configure the subscription to send me that alert when I reach the number 50?
We don't have any alerts like that set up in the system today. If we go back to, right, so what we always show you at the top is how many sites you've got licensed. Now, what'll happen is if I've already maxed out on my active sites, and then I go into the system and I say, let's just give you a quick demo of this. So this site was made inactive, right? But let's say, no, I really didn't want to make that inactive. It should be an active site. You notice now it's telling me I've got 6 active sites. Same with this one here. We'll go ahead and make that active, right? Right, so now basically I've used up my license. Now, if I come into the system and trying to add a brand new site, you can certainly do that. It'll let you do that, right? But what it'll also will tell you is that you need to purchase more licenses, or you need to inactivate one of your other sites so you have enough license sites to address the need. So do this real quick here. Right, so if I try and save the site, right, it's going to say it succeeded the license. And then what I typically would do is I'd say, okay, I'll go ahead and right now make it inactive. And then what I'll do is I'll ask check-in for a license from another site, bump my license up to 8, or if I'm paying my credit card, I simply go in here and it'll just say manage my subscription, and I can go in there and then bump it up to another site. So you see in the system as more sites are being added by the admin, we provide a lot of information about what their current license count is and how to go about changing it.
Okay. The additional question is, does everyone need to have a smartphone? Do you also track like when people, as they leave, check out of the site?
So the way the application works today is that they need to scan the QR code to gain access to the site. So we don't do anything with GPS or trying to track the user's activity. Most people object to that. They don't feel like they want to be spied on. So when it comes to checking out of the site, the idea will be that they'll have a QR code that they can check out from, or on their device, they simply pick their check-in record and then hit a button to say, I'm checking out. So this is something that, again, over the next few weeks, we're going to release this new set of capabilities. You'll find out more about that.
Okay. Does everyone need to have a smartphone, or can I check in somebody without a smartphone?
So there is a smartphone required to do a check-in. We find that if some visitors don't have a smartphone, the practice we've seen out there is that they'll ask one of their coworkers or others to actually check them into the app for them. So there's nothing in the app that prevents you from checking in somebody else on your device. As long as you're providing the relevant contact information for that person checking in, they can do that.
Yeah. And can I have more than one location within a site?
So the capability to let you define what we're calling here destinations within a site certainly gives you the ability to let the user specify what area of the site they're going to work in. So the really all the reporting and all the visibility is at the site level. So, typically, if you want to partition off a particular area and just have a supervisor manage, all the check-ins across that area, that kind of defines the boundary of your site. You can certainly put destinations within that. If you put, I guess, a destination within the site, you ask the user to pick their destination. We don't actually kind of partition that off and then let the supervisor or have a supervisor get alerts for just the destination within a site or reporting of things just within a site. Within a site. So it just kind of depends on your use case. Certainly the system's flexible enough to let you set up, a site and then let them pick their destination within the site or just have each of those be their own distinct site. I think it really depends on the level of alerting and visibility you want kind of across everything that's happening.
Can someone check in with an email?
So we do have an option that lets somebody check in with a link. Now, it's something that we don't really promote too much, but I'll tell you that, let's say, for example, Cafe Go-Go, it's a fun work site, that you can use a check-in link. So when you want to activate a check-in link for a site, basically you click this button. This is a link that then, if the user puts that in their browser, would allow them to check into the site. So you can cut and paste this, you can email it to somebody, they can check in without having to go through a QR code poster. We have some use cases where people have asked to be able to do that, and it's certainly supported here in the app.
If I'm hosting somebody, can I set it up when a particular vendor or a particular visitor from a particular company shows up? Can I configure an alert to do that?
So the way the alerting works now is that when somebody is accessing a site, either a admin or a supervisor or a host that's associated to that site is going to be alerted, certainly when anybody's denied check-in. So let me go to the user list. We didn't take a look at that, right? So for this company, you'll see a bunch of users. They're either a supervisor, they're an administrator, they can be a host, right? And then you also define whether or not they get alerts based on a check-in event. So in this case, this supervisor, Joe Padre, if we set him up to get email alerts, anybody that gets denied access to this particular site, he would get an email alert letting them know that somebody was denied. If you want to just simply notify that somebody's arrived on the site, whether they're granted or denied, that's when you set up somebody to be a host. So Hector here is defined for that site as a host. So when I check in, he shows up as the list in my check-in, and then he'll be actually notified when the user's either granted or denied access to the site. That's the current level that we support in the product. And going forward, we're always looking at ways to provide more types of alerting. And always, any feedback we have from our customers on what they need, we always take that into account as we're planning our roadmap.
And lastly, what kind of IT support would I need to set this all up?
Well, so the main focus of what we're doing as a company is to have very minimal or no IT involvement at all. Basically, you sign up for SafeSite Check-in. It's an application that runs up in the cloud, meaning that there's no special hardware you need to make this work. There's really no IT resources you need to make it work. You simply sign up for the app, and then you can see here it's very quick in this admin app to add your sites, add your users, customize the application. As soon as I add a brand new site, as soon as you do that in the app, it automatically creates a QR code poster for you, right? So you've got the poster here. You can download that as a PDF. And in this case, both Spanish and English PDF pages come out. And then typically these are printed and made available for users to check in. So literally, you can have this application purchased within minutes and have your first job site up and running within minutes as well, with no IT involvement. And we've tried really focused on building the app to make it easy for typical non-technical user to be able to go in, take a look at what's going on, a big button to add a site, a big button to add a user, and everything you want to kind of set up.
So those that are checking in don't need an app to download. Is that right?
True. No app to download. They simply just scan the poster, the QR code poster from their device, and it'll go ahead and start to ask questions for them to check in, right? And if you go to our main website, you can actually try this in action. So try to find our website here, right? So if you go here, you have your phone, scan that code, and it'll actually take you through a check-in process. You can see it kind of working live in action.
And you mentioned English and Spanish. Do you support other languages?
So out of the box, we support English and Spanish for the visitors that are checking in through the check-in app. Right? So if I scan the QR code, I'm on my phone. You'll see when they come in that initially, the first time they come in, they're asked, do you want this in English or Spanish? But the user can then change. So today, it's just English and Spanish, but we do have the system set up so it can be customized, so we can quickly add additional languages. If you have visitors that have a need for another language, we can add that in. Once you're a customer, we can go ahead and add that to the application for you.
Thanks. Those are all the questions I see. Again, one last reminder for people to ask questions on the Q&A panel. We'll give it maybe 30 seconds to see something.
All right. So Siva, I want to thank you for helping out here today. I want to thank everybody again for participating, and look forward to working with you somewhere down the line.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll be sending a reminder with the link to replay once we process the recording. Thank you again for your time, and if you have any questions, always contact us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, bye.